Where's my mom's bear? That's a cursed piece of looking thing. It doesn't have any fur. Where are you?
I like how I brought us live and Julia immediately was like, I must
Curious.
track down.
Oh, well,
He, my whole life, he was on my mom's bed on top of the pillow that had the knife under it.
just soak it in that aura of vague sleeping menace, you know?
I just feel like haunted toys just really, really fits the vibe of what we're going for. And it really makes, it just really informs us what kind of toys Santa's going to be making. So,
Mm.
hi, everyone.
I realized, Amber, we didn't discuss which one of us would be doing the intro. Do you want to dive in or do you want me to do it?
Hey, I'll dive in. If you have a script you want me to read, I'll do it. I fuck it. We're doing it live from the apocalypse. See,
Hey.
look how good I am.
Perfect.
Aced it.
You've already hit the first key point.
Okay, wonderful. If you could DM me other key points so I don't miss, that'd be great. But I can do some vamping. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Live from the Apocalypse. My name is Amber, and I am going to be your groundskeeper this evening as we go through Santa's Workshop of Horrors in this edition of Bluebeard's Bride that we are titling Santa Claus's Bride or Santa Claus's Wife, something like that. Anyway, this is part of our Haz-Mas event here on Live from the Apocalypse. This Live from the Apocalypse is, of course, a not-for-profit TTRPG studio that raises money for aid organizations and good causes. Our current good cause, if you are so inclined to donate, is Rainbow Railroad, specifically the Canadian branch, because we've donated some money to the American branch. You can choose. Oh, Shell's here! Yay! Hi, Shell. Shell's in my off-stream game that I'm running, and we've been friends for a long time. Instead of subscribing to us here at Live from the Apocalypse, what you can do instead is actually hit that right next to, like at the bottom here in the bottom right. It says donate to charity, and that's where you can donate to Rainbow Railroad, because every time you actually subscribe to us here at Live from the Apocalypse, well, you see, that gives an opportunity for noted, beloved dungeon master Brennan Lee Mulligan to kill and consume a dog live on air. And we won't have that because there's going to be enough horrors going on tonight, and we can't have Brendan Lee Mulligan kill dogs, So he doesn't actually kill a dog. It's just a gift. Don't report us to PETA. Before we get started, I just want to give a quick shout out, a quick warning that this game is rated for adults, not just there could be sexual content, but not in the fun sense. This game may possibly have torturous moments. There might be body horror, blood, gore, just general trigger warning for horror and things that may potentially hurt you. So if at any point you as a watcher, you as a player, myself as a GM, if we feel uncomfortable, you have every right to leave the stream. No harm, no foul. We'll see you later. Haz-Mas is continue on with many more wholesome stories, but this one it's a cold winter's night. We might as well go for something a little more bone chilling. So before we get started, I did write a poem for us tonight. But before I dive into that, I would love to introduce our fine players here, starting with Della. Della, tell us who you are as a person, who you're playing, and maybe choose one of the questions that we answered when setting up our Santa Claus's Wife, and tell some folks about us.
Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Della. I have been accused of being a sad dragon with feelings, and I am playing tonight the Virgin. And let me see. We're just getting through. Um, I had been asked to describe the bride's eyes, and I can say that our eyes are extremely pale, pale green with flecks of gold throughout, with long, long, dark eyelashes. And when I say her eyes are pale, I mean the color is so light that in a certain lights, it looks as if she has no iris at all. That's all I got.
Wonderful and terrifying. We love it. We love wonderfying content here. Thank you so much, Della. Let's pop over to JD. You are next. JD, why don't you tell us a little bit about you, about who you're playing, and choose one of the details about your sister.
Hi, I am JD. You can find me on the internet at JD Not Jason Dean, and I am playing the witch. And I think the fact that I am going to choose, because Julia hated it so much in the way I said it, is I'm going to tell you about the bride's hair. It's beautiful, it's long, it is the color of flame, and all of the hues that go along with it. And Santa likes us to wear it down.
Oh, I hate that.
Amber, I think I'm shivering in fear already. Does this count?
Okay, everyone take one trauma. No, don't take trauma yet. There's going to be plenty of times. Don't worry.
Promise?
I pinky promise. And last but not least, Julia, tell us about who you are, who you're playing, and choose one of the facts about your sister to share with the class.
Okie dokie. Hi, I'm Julia. I'm Hexbot on all social media platforms, and I'm the local Delaware cryptid. And I'm playing the Animus, which is to type, honestly. And the factoid I'm gonna give is what gift I gave to Santa, the wedding gift that I gave him. Which was I gave him special beads to wear in his hair and his beard, little silver and gold, and some of them had bells in them that chime this perfectly clear, high noted bell chime that really like embodies the spirit of the holidays and the season he oversees, and it lets me, it lets me know when my love is near.
Also horrifying. We love it. We very much love it. Okay, everyone. So, without further ado, I hope you're comfortable because what better way to start a lovely Christmas story than with a lovely Christmas poem? Which I did write today, and I did read it out several times to make sure the meter mostly fit. So we love it. 'Twas 2 weeks before Christmas, and within Santa's shop wandered his new missus with curiosity nonstop. Her wedding band gleamed on her finger so fair, in hopes that St. Nicholas would treat her with care. The elves bustled endlessly through the halls. This line, every time it gets me. The elves bustled endlessly through the halls, pointedly avoiding secrets within the walls. Great Santa, with his white beard and wife in her gown, stood united together, yet her eyes stayed cast down. Then that night before Christmas, Saint Nick left his wife alone. He passed her a key ring, gave her permission to roam. You may, my love, explore any room you wish, Santa instructed, his tone not suspicious. My home is your home, you're totally free. Just avoid in my room this year's Christmas tree. He gave her a kiss in front of the elves, then led her alone, just the two of them themselves. I mean it, my wife, Santa growled with sudden doom. If you value your life, don't go in my room. With a wink and a grin, Normal Kringle returned. One couldn't even tell that he'd just been spurned. He bounded in his sleigh, set for the air, leaving his wife behind, simply standing there. He shouted his usual call to his trusty reindeer team, off to deliver every toy and every kid's dream. Now left with her keys and to her own devices, Mrs. Claus felt her mind spin into a crisis. The voices in her head all fought for control, which you, dear players, will decide by dice roll. Our bride's fate is placed firmly in your hands, so let's start this game to discover Santa's devious plans. Ooh, spooky. Okay, everyone. Yes, suspish. I watch Bailey Sarian sometimes, and I can't not. Okay, everyone. So let's start. So Bluebeard's Bride, for those listening at home, our players are not taking on the role of individual brides. No, they are actually taking on the roles of various aspects and facets of the bride's personality. So each player will take turns as they wander through Santa's lush, expansive workshop, taking control of our bride through taking control of the wedding ring, and whoever wears the wedding ring gets to actually interact with the space around her. Now, the thing about Santa is that we know he is immortal, and we know that he is a presence that doesn't quite escape anyone's notice. And so Santa very much, when his previous Mrs. Claus met her demise, it was fascinating when he darkened your door just a couple weeks before Christmas. He was he didn't seem saddened, unfortunately, by the hole left beside him, knowing that he no longer had a wife. No, he came to your door looking to fill that void, and he had unfortunately had his eye on you, on your gleaming hair, your figure, like an old Hollywood star. Broad, healthy, supple, fertile. He loved everything about your hands, though spindly and delicate. They still were hands meant for working, meant for performing, meant for action. And another thing that he loved about you, and the thing that he wanted to see the most out of everything about you, were your pale hazel green eyes, flecks of gold throughout. You know, that color is just so pale that in certain light it almost seems like you have no iris at all. It's intriguing. He loves it. He wants to know more. And so he took you as his bride. Right at the start of the holiday season, and it's a time for celebration, it's a time for joy, it's a time for sharing. And oh, did he share in his delights and parade you so wonderfully around the North Pole. For weeks the elves were planning festivities and executing parties that went all night long, and somehow still had time to start preparing the toys for Christmas. But of course, as time went along, as you all spent your first several weeks living in Santa's house, the elves tended to not meet your eye. They only spoke to you when you spoke to them. Some elves would look at your way with a bit of pity, but you couldn't quite place it. You couldn't quite understand why. Why would they pity you? You're Mrs. Claus. You're the heart of the house. But they just kept things moving as normal. You just kept things moving as normal. And you would, after time went by, the grip on your hand from Santa would get tighter and tighter, less loving, more firm, more controlling, as if that hand was there to keep up appearances of a Santa and his Mrs. Claus. Until finally, on Christmas Eve. It was time for him to depart. He saddled up all his 8 reindeer plus Rudolph, leading the way. Uh, the elves helped him load in all of the presents. The northern lights were shimmering in the sky, helping to create almost like a runway in the sky to illuminate where he needed to go, to point him in the right direction, away from your house, away from the workshop, and ultimately away from you. But before he left, he did grant you a beautifully laden ring of keys that jingled almost like every jingle bell that adorned almost every inch of every ribbon, every sash, every bough throughout the workshop. But it jingled almost ominously when the keys fell into your hand. He did instruct that while he was gone, you did have full reign of the house. You could explore whatever you wanted, but he did warn again, do not go in my room. My wife, if you value your life, do not go in my room. Do not, under any circumstances, find yourself there. You can have anything else. My only limit is my bedroom. I hope you respect that. And he kissed you goodbye, hopped on his sleigh, and left. And then he specifically looked into the mother's eyes. Or, sorry, not the mother's eyes. He specifically looked into the virgin's eyes as he said this, as he gave his goodbyes, as he kissed you lovingly, deeply. But before he left, he thanked you, the virgin, for the goat cart. The way you decorated it, the way that you adorned it with velvet ribbons and bells, and even made the billy goats that you tied, you attached to it, look a little bit like his reindeer. He loved it. And it inspired the decorations for this year's festivities. And it's you who's in control right now. You who have the ring, our virgin. And you are given free reign to start exploring. I have a question for you, though.
Of course.
This key ring, again, has hundreds of keys on it. It could be, the keys lead to any room you could possibly imagine. But which key in particular intrigues you the most? What does it look like?
As the virgin, as I'm looking through these keys, sort of wandering back into the house, sort of flipping through the key ring, at one point I try to attach the ring to our chatelaine, but can't. It's too heavy. It pulls the
Mm-hmm.
whole thing down. So
Right.
I'm sort of now just holding it and flipping through the keys. And the one I think that strikes my fancy is this very, very slim silver key with an almost filigreed, almost filigreed teeth, very light, very delicate. And I'm struck by how just pretty it is. It's so fine. I'm we're unused to things that are fine and delicate. We're used to things that are practical, and I love the things that are delicate and maybe a little bit of frippery. So I want to find the door that this key opens.
Absolutely. A an elf near you sees you clutching this particular key, and she titters. Oh, isn't that key just lovely? It's absolutely beautiful. Do you know which room that belongs to yet?
No, I don't. Do you?
Yes. Oh, Mrs. Claus, if that key is drawing your eye, I would love to take you to the room. I think you'll find something familiar in it. I think you'll find something that might belong to you in that room, actually.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
that would be so wonderful. I know Nicholas brought some of my things from home, but the house is so large. It's so grand. I'm I'm not entirely sure where they've gone. Um, I I'd love to know, what is your name?
My name is Sprinkle.
Very pleased to meet you, Sprinkle.
It's wonderful to meet you too, Mrs. Claus. Thank you for noticing me. Um, and Sprinkle is just a small elf, um, blonde hair, like completely toe-headed. Her hair is in two little braided buns that sit at the nape of her neck. Her eyes are wide and doe-eyed, and she has almost like a natural, I mean, very Christmassy, natural cold girl flush going on. Um, to her skin. She's extremely pale. It's almost as if she herself is, though her name is Sprinkle, like the manifestation of like a light dusting of powdered sugar on top of a Christmas cookie. Um, but she offers her hand hesitantly, but hopes you take it.
I take it readily.
Perfect. And she leads you from where you are in the kind of like hangar, the bay, where, whatever,
The
of the
stables?
workshop, and leads you to the second floor of the workshop. The workshop also doubles conveniently as the mansion, or the overall home, the compound, if you will, of the North Pole. So she leads you up to the second floor. The large marble staircase is gleaming with little flecks of gold, almost magically attuned to sparkle just a little bit extra with that little touch of holiday cheer with every step you take up, uh, further and further and further, higher and higher, around. It feels like maybe this staircase, though grand and obviously very luxe, um, a little strange, but not. But you finally get to the landing eventually, and you. She Sprinkle tugs at your hand a little bit more. We're not too far. We're not too far at all. We're very very close. Uh, would you? Uh, I'm afraid that I can't go further than here at the landing. Um, Santa prohibits elves from going this far. This is as
Oh,
far as I can go.
oh, really? You're not.
Yes, but I can tell you it's the one, two, eighth door down on the right. If you hit where the hallways cross at like a T, then you've gone too far.
Huh, well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you guiding me.
You're extremely welcome, Mrs. Claus. Welcome to the family.
She she will sort of beam, and um think she will sort of beam and squeeze Sprinkle's hand, and she says, "I know if you can't come with me, that I understand. But I'm so glad to have found a friend. Thank you. Thank you for speaking to me. It's
Friend?
been lonely.
Friend.
I well, I know. Yeah, I maybe I yes, friend. I I think.
I'd like
Um,
that. I just won't tell Santa. It'll be our little secret, Mrs. Claus. Yes?
of course, of course, of course. And I think waves and sort of um as well. Um, I guess I'll see you later. And goes down the landing.
Okay. So let's just pick right back up. Thank you for giving us that break. Let's just pick right back up. So Sprinkle nods, and there's the entire time that Sprinkle talked with you in her blue eyes, you could not sense that there was actual genuine warmth and happiness behind them until you agreed to calling her your friend. She loved it. She Her eyes lit up like the North Star and gave her a little bit of hope. Not that you would know that, but just nice. Maybe nice to intuit. She bounced down the stairs and leaves you alone to go wander the hallways looking for that 8th door on the right. Yes.
That's right where I'm headed, unless either of my sisters wants to, I don't know, throw hands about it. But I
No,
think that's where we're going.
not yet.
Yeah,
I'll
I'll
keep
Okay.
you.
accept this for now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
keep you
Yeah.
posted.
Cool. 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 Yeah. I'm gonna. I think I think the Virgin is going to walk down the hall, and as I walk, I'm looking at the other doors. Sort of, I'm taking my time. I'm not feeling rushed at this point, so I'm taking my time to sort of like look through the key rings and trying to match keys to doors. But I think I get like one, like the very first door, I like match a little, um, a little key that's made out of like polished ivory or bone. I match that, and I realize that I probably spent a solid half hour going through keys to get to that. And I'm like, okay, cu- I am curiosity, but that bored me. So, uh, I'm gonna, she's gonna kind of keep it moving to the 8th door.
I mean, Santa has a large, expansive building here. It's very easy to not just get lost in the maze of the hallways, but I mean, the keys themselves almost create a maze of stories, maze of potential experiences and questions of things that lie behind each of these mystery doors. So it only makes sense that you would get caught up in the keyring. But eventually you do make it to that 8th door on the right. And in front of you, is the door is elegant. It's almost got the same like filigree and swirling patterns that exist on the key itself. They match, done with an actual silver inlay in the door itself. The wood of the door is dark mahogany, which allows that silver swirling inlay to really sing. The doorknob itself also is one of those long, narrow doorknobs with the plate of itself, and then the doorknob is made of. I mean, it looks like ice. It's faceted like a diamond, but it looks like ice. Um, this could very well be. I mean, you could find a door like this in any luxury hotel or luxury boutique or something of the sort. What do you do?
I think um she I think she puts the key in the lock, turns the lock, and like the only time she hesitates is touching the doorknob. I think there's that little irrational part of her brain, of our brain, that says like, "Oh, it's going to be too cold. That's going to be too cold to touch with your bare hands." But we steel ourselves and we open the door.
You open the door, and the door itself is silent as it skims across the thick, plush, yet pristine beige carpet underneath. It just makes a shh as the door skims over. As you step inside, one would think that you were not in the North Pole at all. One would think that you weren't even in Santa's workshop. No, it feels like you were taken directly to like a bridal salon, perhaps. A threefold mirror with a dais and sits as the focal point of this room. Two large, I mean, floor to ceiling windows with gossamer curtains framing the windows kind of sit aside either side of the threefold mirror, and the mirror itself is made of that same gleaming, completely tarnished, pristine silver that makes up the key, that makes up the filigree in the door inlay. Uh, and you see yourself in the mirror in triplicate on either side of the on either side of this room. It's not very large. It's not a very large room. It's maybe the size of your average like dressing room behind um, behind in a theater, uh, and it's absolutely stuffed. The walls on either side are just jam packed with bridal gowns. So many bridal gowns. There is a little settee just to the right of the door as you walk in. There's um, a steaming fresh pot of tea, almost as if somebody knew you were going to be in there. But it's your favorite. What's your favorite kind of tea?
When we were a very little girl, we got very sick, and we didn't have a lot of money. So there wasn't a lot we could do. We didn't have a lot of money for medicine. So, the best thing that you could do is, try and make yourself comfortable and hope it passes. And we were so sick that we didn't want to eat anything. So our mother would make this tea with lemon peel and the juice of any fruit she could find, and with um, with just masses and masses of sweet, sweet honey, uh, and a little bit of ginger, and it's that like red currant and lemon and honey and ginger tea with so much honey that it almost like it almost pours a little slow, like it almost pours like syrup.
And it's that tea as it pours slow out of the gleaming silver giant tea kettle, like teapot, one of those that would belong on like a Sunday tea, like in the UK. It's tall, its feet are spindly, and but can very much support like the weight and the heft of the contents inside. Um, and it's as the tea pours out of the kettle into the awaiting teacup, it is slow, almost sensual, as it oozes, dripping, uh, until you fill the cup. What do you do?
Curl our hands, our long, delicate hands around the teacup, and we take a sip. And I think we look at the dresses first. And I think there's a moment we put the cup down and start like taking dresses off the rack and like holding them up to our body and like posing in the mirror and like, absolutely just being like, we're I just found the fanciest costume shop. This is amazing. So just absolutely just playing, like grabbing dresses and holding on to our body. And, it's so funny. Like these dresses are all so pretty and they're all so different, almost as if they were made for many hundreds of women before me. I don't let that thought sit for very long. I just grab the next dress.
How do the witch and the animus feel about this room as the virgin is absolutely delighting in the splendor of this bridal salon?
I don't like it.
Absolutely not.
I don't like it.
What what don't you like about this? This is so great. Oh my god, look at how pretty this one is. Look at the little blue flowers.
When was blue ever in style for a wedding like this?
Well, I mean, it's like accent color, I don't know. I don't know.
It's not our size, is it?
It's not.
For
Mm,
someone so much smaller, more delicate than us.
yeah, maybe like 15 years ago. But man, we would have been hot in it.
We're hot now in our wedding dress.
We're perfect now as we are.
You're damn right.
I did forget to mention your wedding dress is actually hung on the trifold mirror.
Should we put it on?
Might as well. It's a waste to only wear it once.
Oh,
If
I
you would like,
agree. I agree.
if you
Sorry,
would
which?
like, you
Oh,
don't get
yes.
to have fun at all times, so if this would make you happy,
What? Uh, Grabs a dress, puts it on. Uh, I wore my wedding dress out of character. I wore my wedding dress to a couple of parties after my
You
wedding
gotta,
because c- it's
gotta.
just you got. Uh, so yeah, absolutely puts it on and is just like again, sort of posing. And sort of sits down and very very delicately sips the tea, sort of like doing one of these, like leaning over the desk so that she doesn't spill on herself. You know, she's got the saucer. You know, doing one of these.
How does the dress feel? Does it still fit? Do you still feel that it's perfectly suited to every curve, every incline, every swell, every ebb of your body?
I think when we first put it on in this room, when we first put the dress on, it felt stiff. On the day of our wedding, it felt good. It felt mobile. It felt more like we could move in it. And that might have just been because of the joy. Uh, Now it feels aspects of it feel comfortable. Like, my arms, I can move around, but sitting down and bending forward, there's that awareness of the constriction around the ribs and the boning of the integrated corset kind of poking us in the hips. And it's a little bit like, mm, this was fun, but I think I might put my kirtle back on.
You put your girdle back on and it
Oh,
hugs
kirtle,
you. Oh, huh?
kirtle. It's just a plain like shift dress.
Ah, I am not a costumer by any stretch of the imagination, so I'm gonna shudder in fear and take five, five trauma, and I shatter. So, thanks
I die.
everyone.
Sorry,
Uh,
sorry,
no. So,
sorry.
uh,
It's the ADHD impulse to be like, I know a weird word. I gotta share it with everybody.
same. That's
Yeah,
oh man, yes, that's so fucking valid. I truncate is my ADHD word of the week.
yeah.
Uh, so I
It's a
feel you.
really good one.
Yes. I think I have a fear that triplicate is going to be in my next one. Anyway, so you put your normal attire back on, beautifully festive for the occasion, given that it is Christmas Eve. Um, but you almost feel, I don't even say you feel, but it's like there is a voice, like a little whisper in the back of your head. Please, please come find me. Please, please, please. I'm right here for you. I'm waiting. I'm waiting. Can you come find me, please? Please, I'm tired of hiding. I'm tired of not being out. I'm tired. It's been so long. Please, please come find me. Please come. Please. What do you do?
Hello?
It just repeats, getting more and more frenzied,
Hello?
waiting to be found.
Where are you? Are you uh gonna start like looking around? Um dee dee dee.
Where do you look?
I think that we look um I think we like first look like under like the vanity and where the teapot is, and then it's like behind the mirror, and then we start like looking behind the dresses. Um
You feel, when you touch a certain dress, you feel almost like static electricity prick your fingers. It is a dress that is so tucked back in the furthest reaches of the shelf of the rack that it's dingy. All the other dresses in here are bright, gleaming white, shining as if recently worn, but this one has a more It's more dove gray. It's worn, old. Might be the first one to have been placed in here. Its lace is very much out of fashion. But simple. It's very much the dress itself is perhaps the most simple out of all of the dresses in this room. More modest, not only in the covering, but more modest in as if price point. What do you do?
She takes the dress and I think she hangs it up on the mirror. Is the voice still talking?
You hang the dress up on the mirror and you almost a fills your head. A contented sigh. A relieved sigh.
Sister's address is talking to me. Is that weird? Is it weird for a dress to talk to you?
It's unusual, but not unheard of.
Uh, hello, dress.
Hello, Mrs. Claus. Thank you
Yes,
for pulling me out.
you're very pretty. Well, how long have you been here?
What year is it?
Oh.
Which Mrs. Claus are you?
Uh, uh, the newest?
So many he's lost count.
I,
Yeah.
in his defense, I didn't ask. But w- are you okay? Is there anything I can do to help? You seem so scared.
Can you just answer one question for me? Now that now that I'm out in the open,
Of
can you
course.
do me the kindness? Actually, I have two questions. The first question, how did you feel wearing your dress on your wedding day?
I I loved it. I'd never worn anything so fine. I loved how it spun around my feet. I loved how it magnified the feeling of his hands on my waist when we danced. I even liked I I even kind of liked the impressions the ribbing made in my skin when I took it off.
Did you take it off for him? Or did you take it off for yourself?
Oh. It was the end of a long night. I was ready to go to sleep and I wasn't crinkling that crinoline. Uh and but I mean, newlywed, I I I
Would you mind putting me on just for old time's sake?
oh, Um, certainly. And I think she'll, unless a sister has a problem with this, she will start to do that. But I think she'll reach out and she'll sort of touch the lace and say, "How did you feel when you were worn?"
Say it. I want to make you investigate it a little bit more. Just like fucking investigate that
I got
mysterious
the
object.
moth as a face move, so that this is how I investigate.
Oh no.
Putting this dress on is how I investigate it. Uh, but yeah, I think she'll, as she's putting the dress on, she'll ask, "How did it feel when you were worn to be worn on someone's wedding day?"
It felt like I had purpose. It felt like I it felt like I had finally found
Yeah, Justin, fucking grip
myself.
it and rip it, baby. Slop that down, dude.
Thank you so much for the
Dude, crack one for the
donation.
big
More shoddy.
boy.
Thank you for donating. Nice.
You.
369. But also, it felt I think that Mrs. Claus felt like I was home, like she was home. Like she had found her forever home. She did, unfortunately.
Oh, I
Do you have any other questions? I'd be more than happy to answer them for you.
well, was I know he's had a lot of wives. Was he kind to her? He's been very kind to me so far.
He he treated her with respect. He treated her with dignity. He treated her as if she were the one.
Good. Good. That's good. Um, how does the dress feel when I put it on?
The dress feels delicate. Like any false move, any sudden twitch or anything could make it completely disintegrate.
Oh, you're so beautiful. I'm so afraid of tearing you.
I didn't see her again after she left. After the wedding. She never returned.
Oh, I never thought about how lonely a wedding dress might be. To be worn
No
and
one
discarded. Or
no one ever does, especially especially when we're so close to Christmas. You know, there are other celebrations to be had.
I'll I am going to I feel like does this count as placing myself in immediate danger wearing this dress? Because it hasn't been threatening, so I haven't wanted to use that move, but I feel like I've put myself in a situation where if it wanted to be dangerous.
I I figured you were asking if this thing was gonna squish you, and I don't think it is.
Okay.
I think it just wanted to be found. I think it
Yeah.
just wanted its story to be told.
Does that mean that the Virgin could propose a truth about it?
Yeah. What truth do you? What would you like to propose a truth about it?
I think I might like to propose a truth about it, but now can you remind me of what the doodads about proposing truth are?
Yes. When you propose a truth about a room, detail what you think happened in the room, to whom, and why. Next, describe the token you take that supports your interpretation of what happened here and mark it on the appropriate token track. If it is a token of faithfulness, you are closer to proving that your trust in your husband is well placed. Heal one trauma. If it is a token of disloyalty, you are closer to proving that your unkind suspicions about your husband are true. Mark one trauma. So, our virgin, is this a token of faithfulness or a token of disloyalty?
I think this is a token of faithfulness. The sorrow here has more to do with the being abandoned by her bride and less to do with, he treated her with respect and with care. Uh, the bride and the dress was then discarded. So for me, I think this is a token of faithfulness. I think the truth of this room is that it's a this is a room where you go to be reminded of your wedding day. And I think as I think it's usual for people after they've been married to think less and less upon the specific day of their wedding. And so it gets forgotten. All you need to do is look at the key and to know this was the day of our wedding. And I think that it is likely that many other brides have sat in this room shortly after their wedding, looked around at the dresses, left, and then not come back.
What did the other sisters have to say about this?
I think I think the Virgin's thought is in the right vein, but a little simplistic, in that I don't think it's for the brides to remember. I think this is a place where our husband goes to remember his lost brides. In in his uh long lifespan, we've always known that there are brides who he outlived. That's the nature of marrying mortals. So it's, this is more for him to be able to remember the brides gone by than for the brides themselves to remember.
And I
What said
think
you, Witch?
the witch's thoughts are a little bit different than both the Virgin and the Animus. Uh, she is thinking, I suppose, actually down the middle of both of their thoughts, in that she agrees with the Virgin that this is a room for these moments to potentially be remembered, but they're not being remembered. And so this feels almost more like it is a room meant for containing trophies of that day. Something to mark the passage of time but never look back on it. And she does not see this as a sign of loyalty. She sees this as a sign of all that has been forgotten.
I'm glad you all think that way. I'm supposed to give a non-committal answer, and that's the most non-committal answer someone can give. All right. So, our bride, our virgin, do you give up the ring as you exit the room?
I think so. I think the token I'm taking from the room, um, I would ask the dress if it would harm it for me to unpick some of the lace from its sleeve so that I could wear it on my own dress and bring this piece of the past into my present.
Oh my God, it would be such an honor, Mrs. Claus, to be on your person, to be adored, to be seen again.
Of course. And she'll take out from her huge silver chatelaine that right runs down the which is a big it's a big belt with hanging chains off of it with for those who don't know with
I want a chatelaine so
God,
bad.
I want one so bad, so bad. I have a whole Pinterest board. I send them to my husband like major
Hey, Drew,
25.
I know you're in chat. Get me a fucking chatelaine, please.
Every once in a while, I find one on eBay, but you know what's really fucked up? They're all coming from Australia, and I'm not about to pay that shipping cost. And I'm like, why are
Oh,
you all in
absolutely not.
Australia? Didn't even
Yeah,
have a
that's
proper Victorian period.
right. But yeah, she pulls out the little sewing box and the little stork scissors and unpicks some of the lace from the decorative lace from the sleeve and um, I think very quickly and sort of deftly sews it into the collar of her dress um, before leaving. And I think the Virgin is a little unsettled by this. This is the first time I've had a conversation with a dress. Um, which I feel like this is very much more your wheelhouse. Um, would you would you like to take the ring?
I would, yes. I have questions.
Okay. I cede the body to you.
And the witch will take control and accept the ring.
Perfect. You step outside of the room, closing the door behind you, and the door clicks delicately, but you also hear the same contented sigh that you heard the dress exhale as the door shifts over the carpet. So, Witch, I have a question for you.
I love
Which
questions.
key sticks out to you on the keyring?
Della said it earlier, so I have to acknowledge it. Della described a key made of bone, and Della knows that bones are my weakness. And so I think the witch looks through the key ring to see how many keys are made of that particular material. And if there are more than one, which there may be since there are so many on this key ring, they look at the one that looks the oldest.
Oh, let me ask. Do you mean like a bone key that looks the oldest?
Yep.
Okay. There's probably like 3 or 4 other keys that are made of bone. Um, but the one that looks the oldest almost has actually, why don't you describe it? There you do find the one that looks the oldest. It is, but it is up to you to describe this actual key.
And so all of the keys made of bone are well preserved, well maintained. They are coated in substances that will ensure that they do not degrade, which makes it hard to figure out which one is the oldest. But as she runs her fingers over them, she goes for the one that is the most worn. In fact, the handle of it, which is just a simple circle, it's not ornate, it's just a hollowed out piece of bone, has literally been worn down by someone rubbing their fingers over it again and again. And that means that this key must be important because even if it is not often used, it is touched, it is remembered. And that is the one that she selects.
Okay. You As you run your fingers over this key, you feel the bumps and the ridges and valleys of time, that are emblematic of the uses this key has had. Um, you get this feeling in your gut that this particular key belongs downstairs in the basement. That it is a key for something that people don't usually go to unless they really need to go to it. What do you do?
I mean, that is perfect because where would answers to secrets be but in a room that others want you to forget?
Oh, absolutely. You head down into the basement. You um there's not many rooms down here, and the basement is unfortunately one of the few places that don't get to see the frivolity and the light and the joy of holiday cheer throughout its halls. Um, the basement is not necessarily a place that even Santa himself goes to often. Uh, the door leading to the basement is tucked in, almost beside like the door to the pantry. But you are able to find it, and the door to the basement doesn't require a key, thankfully. It just is a door. You open it and it creaks, almost as if, again, like it hasn't been opened in a while. Um, but the stairs leading down into the basement, um, as you get further and further from the sounds
Yeah,
of
Justin, fucking grip it and rip
the
it,
sounds of
baby. Slop
uh,
that down, dude. Shit, yeah,
oh my
dude.
god, what is the
Crack one for
Ariana
the
Grande
big
Christmas
boy.
song? Santa tell me. Yeah, yeah, the elves are playing Ariana Grande Santa Tell Me, and singing really poorly along with it. That's the most terrifying thing of all. Everyone take a Trump. No, I'm joking. um, so the but the sound becomes more and more muted and more tinny the further you go down the stairs, until finally, once you reach the floor of the basement, the sound is no more. And it's strange because you couldn't have gone more than like 10 or 15 stairs down. Um, you you flick on the light to help you see down here in the basement, and it illuminates the space. The walls are it's definitely, the basement itself is actually pretty damp down here. It's not awful. It's but it's unusual for, especially up here in the North Pole, for things to be damp. Um, there aren't many doors, but you can kind of see trails of where uh, footprints have gone in the past, uh, where people have worn paths in the concrete to go into the other rooms of the basement more frequently. But there is a third door about halfway down that does not have a prevalent trail. Uh, what do you do?
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
I get distracted by the fact that we have raiders. Hi, raiders. We are
Hi,
playing
Raiders! Oh
Bluebeard's
my God!
Bride.
Hello! Hi, Chaotic Wholesome! Hi, welcome! We're playing Bluebeard's Bride, and we're about to go into the second room. We have already taken one token of faithfulness for our Santa Claus. Now, Raiders, I do just want to give you a quick shout. This game hasn't gotten too spooky yet, but there could potentially be instances of body horror, of maybe a little bit of torture, a little bit of conflict, death, claustrophobia, what have you, definitely gaslighting eventually. So if that is something that does not sit well with you, please feel free to click out. No harm, no foul. We'll see you again later. But if you're in for a little bit of a spooky tale, or maybe to be a little sad tonight with your holiday cheer, stick around. We'd love to have you. But the question was just posed to our witch. What do you do? There's 3 doors down here.
She takes a moment to just walk around the basement, noticing that stark difference between this space and the rest of the manor that she has seen in Santa's workshop. I think she even kneels down for a moment by the footprints, just trying to gauge how long ago people moved down here and how often that dust is disturbed. But ultimately, she goes to that door that has been ignored and sees if that is the door that the key will fit.
And the key fits. The door itself, though the key that fits the door is made of bone, it's again well worn, almost as if it served as a worry stone for those who used it. Um, this door is fairly simple. It is thick, heavy wood, made of individual planks that go vertically. There are wrought iron hinges that end in points that. Because of like the damp feeling of the basement, are a little bit rusted around the actual like hinge itself. The keyhole sits prominently underneath one of those like it's like a doorknob, but it's like the almost like a door knocker, yeah. Um so the key fits, you slide it in, you twist it, and you hear it click, and you're able, with a little bit of effort, to push the door open. And it very much unlike the delicate, soft bridal room that you were just in a moment ago. This room is all darkness. This room is, instead of being lit by electricity like outside in the hallway, this room, actually, you can't quite see anything right now, which is tragic. But again, it feels damp. It feels even more humid in here. It feels maybe like the you get like whiffs of like tobacco, whiffs of uh, like rolling papers, maybe leather. You get whiffs of like acrid whiskey. What do you do?
Well, we are, of course, decorated for the holidays, and so while the majority of the manor of Santa's workshop has electricity, there must be a candle to be found. And so I am going to be about tracking one down so that I can get some illumination and see why this room has been forgotten.
You don't find candles, but you find almost like hurricane lamps, or that's at least what my grandma called them. But hurricane lamps are essentially like oil burning lamps. They're uh, very hourglass shaped, um, usually with some sort of like scalloped edges to the glass. You can like stumble around and feel around on the wall, and you find like the stem of the lamp where you would surmise, like where you would kind of pick up like, okay, this is, where I can control the flow of the oil to the wick. Um, do you have anything that you could use to perhaps light it?
I would, because one needs fire sometimes. And so I reach into my pocket and I find 2 stones, of which I can use to make a spark.
Using some clever stone manipulation, you knock a couple of stones together, create a spark, and it sets the wick aflame. It takes a while for the light to start glowing, but when it does, it casts a warm amber glow about like a 5-foot radius outside. Um, after I assume you step into the room more so that the light doesn't escape into the hallway. Um, and in that 5-foot radius around, you can see where there's the edges of like a molding, decaying rug on the floor, like uh, what is it called? Like an Arabian rug? Fuck. Oriental rug? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Like a Persian rug.
That's Persian rug. That's it. Thank you. Sorry. A Persian rug with like the tassels on the edges starting to fray. Not even starting. It could severely frayed. The wool itself that comprises the rug is completely matted down, and again, there you can see just from like the edges of the light, like it's not the color that it should be. Um, but there's also another lamp not too far that you can see that you feel like if you do the same lighting trick, you can turn it on.
She will light that lamp as well to give as much illumination as she can to this space, though she is not opposed to carrying the lamps to try and see things, even if it means casting the rest of the room into shadow.
You light this lamp and it does another 5 feet of illumination all around. Um, and you can see that the rug itself definitely is, it's definitely, it's for sure more mildew than wool at this point. The leather, there are two leather chairs kind of turned in towards another, like at an angle, um, in the middle of the room, and you can see just at the edges of the light, um, a almost like a walk-in closet, a humidor, for cigar smoking. It, or at the very least for storing your cigars. It has a but the wood of the humidor is starting to warp and turn. Um, it's no longer gleaming and brilliant as it once was. Um, there's no indication that there would be that Santa Claus himself would have made it here, but it's here. It's just the humidor, the chairs, the lamps, the old rug. Maybe, actually, there is the mounted head of a reindeer right next to the door, on the wall. Uh, but the fur on the reindeer's head is faded. It's patchy. There's like little bits of fur. There's little bits of fur in small piles on the floor. There's maybe even uh, rotted pieces of the horns uh, extending up, turning black, no longer gleaming and shining as they once were.
Nicholas likes to keep things so nice and fresh and new, and this just doesn't seem like the Nicholas that we've met so far.
He has so many rooms. Maybe he's just forgotten this one's down here. It's a lot of space for one man. It's disgusting, though. I say we get rid of the rug.
I say we get rid of or take the reindeer to somebody who knows how to do taxidermy, refresh taxidermy. That doesn't seem respectful to the poor thing.
For once, we're in agreement.
But yeah, this rug is also gross.
Yes, well, we never have to come down here again if we so choose.
Well, now I know it's here.
You
Not gonna
can't
be.
erase that knowledge.
No. There must be a better purpose for this space than this.
Hmm. I think if we brought down some more lighting and refreshed the taxidermy and maybe put in a new carpet, we could actually make this kind of nice. It could be like a nice little, like little man cave as opposed to this.
Horror?
Cave, just regular cave. It's giving cave vibes.
You know, this is the second time we've agreed in a matter of minutes, and I'm not sure what that means, but it's interesting.
Yeah, it's probably not great news, honestly.
I think I would like to sit in one of the chairs.
Ugh,
Oh,
ugh.
The
I'll
bride
start
eases
disagreeing
into. Oh, go
more.
ahead.
Fine, I'll start disagreeing with you more. Jeez.
Disgusting.
The bride eases into one of the fine leather chairs down here. Um, the the chair itself groans as if not expecting to have been having to have any weight in it whatsoever. Uh, and the leather, it's once velvety and plush and welcoming, inviting, now is sticky and feels like it grips your skin as you try to move around it and get comfortable. You feel almost like the groove that once was there, the groove that once carried the weight of your husband's body, uh, more so forms to the shape of your bottom. You feel your back sink further and further the uh, into the into the high arched back. The wings of the leather chair start to feel claustrophobic, uh, and you could almost feel like Rancer's father, mounted on the wall in front of you, is staring daggers into your eyes. And JD, is this a good place for us to take a quick break?
Sure, yes, of course it is. I hate all of
Ow.
this, but yes, I can do that.
Arr.
Thinking,
Well, since it's been an hour and a half, we might as well take a break.
I guess.
We'll be back in 10 minutes, everyone. Don't go anywhere.
Get your milk and cookies. Fuck it, we
Fuck it,
ball.
we ball. Fuck it, we ornament ball. Fuck it, we jingle ball. Fuck it,
Woo.
we ball. Tinson, hi. No, you came in just in time for us to come back from halftime. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Life from the Apocalypse. We are playing Bluebeard's Bride today. We have reskinned it to be Santa Claus's wife. In case you don't know us, Life from the Apocalypse is a oh my goodness, hold on. Let me make sure I got my script in front of me. Please hold. Life from the Apocalypse is a not-for-profit TRPG studio that raises money for aid organizations and good causes. We are currently supporting Rainbow Railroad at this time, supporting the LGBT community in Canada. So if you donate any amount towards our goal, I believe our goal currently, what did we bump it? I know we bumped it up for Haz-Mas to $1,500. Oh my God, wait, we are just $200 short of our $1,500 goal. So anything that you could give this holiday season will make the days a little bit more merry and bright for a queer person in need in Canada. So thank you so much for joining us. Again, with this being Bluebeard's Bride, I do want to give a bit of a trigger warning. Especially as we go into this next room, this game does have themes of body horror. It does have themes of general dread, claustrophobia, torture, gaslighting, manipulation, abuse, all of it. So if those things could potentially harm you, no harm, no foul. We do not want to see you get hurt or otherwise damaged from a TTRPG. So please, we'll see you later. But if you are okay, we would love to invite you into the maze of wonders that is Santa Claus's workshop, as the newest Mrs. Claus has found herself. slowly being engulfed by a leather chair that used to be Santa Claus's favorite in his hidden, locked away humidor in the basement. And that's where we left. Our Mrs. Claus is slowly being sucked into, sinking deep into the leather seat here, and the mounted reindeer head across from her, I think we've determined Prancer's father, is but just how old is Prancer, which means just how long ago was Prancer's father mounted? um but the eyes of the mounted reindeer stare directly into the almost colorless eyes of our bride. What do you do, witch? You are the one in charge.
Well, for starters, she does not panic. She maintains that eye contact with Prancer's father and tilts her head and just asks, "Are you the one who's doing this?"
Am I the one that's doing this? Absolutely not. I have no arms, I have no legs, I have no body. How can I be doing anything, my dear girl? I'm just an observer.
And how often have you observed scenes like this?
It's been a while. Are you accepting your fate?
What would be
Are
my
you just
fate?
going to. I'm sorry?
What would be my fate? To be eaten by a chair?
There are worse ways to go. You could be hunted by the man you called friend.
Is that your fate?
Used as a trophy.
Mm.
Your legs start to your legs pop up as the leather chair actually like the leg rest of the leather chair pops up on its own, holding your legs ramrod straight uh, in front of you.
I was gonna say, I feel like my sisters have some
I
thoughts,
was
but
just
I want to give them a chance to share.
But
Yeah.
we gotta get out of this. We should be.
yeah.
I feel like kicking would be.
I was gonna say I am like right at the surface, getting ready to be like, get the fuck up. You can have this conversation standing.
That would be really sweet, actually. Conversation while standing, not getting eaten by a leather chair.
I mean, you wouldn't be the first of his wives to meet their demise in this room. Someone getting too comfortable with their role, getting too comfortable with their place.
And each of them went like this.
Each of them. No. Only the cocky ones. Like my son. We didn't call him Prancer for nothing. The back of the chair uh, starts to flatten backwards. And you can almost feel the lumbar portion of the chair rise higher and higher as the back itself goes backwards, as if trying to crack you like a nutcracker.
And I think that for her is the moment when she is no longer having any of this. But I think she's going to give the ring to the Animus because the Animus is designed to navigate situations
Are
like
you
this.
are you voluntarily giving up the ring, or are you like shivering from fear and giving up the ring?
I think voluntarily giving the ring.
Okay. Just because there's other stuff that happens when you when you shiver from fear, so I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
she feels the Animus clawing her way to the surface and essentially is just like, well, if you think you can handle this, it's all yours.
Oh, I thought you would have I thought you would have enjoyed talking to a mystical mounted head on the wall witch.
Head isn't the problem, it's this fucking chair. I'm just gonna wrench myself out. Wrench myself up
Just to
and
let
out.
you know, just to let the witch know, you are immune from trauma until the animus passes the ring.
I'm gonna get up. Get up. I don't know if I have to. What if I gotta do? I
Animus,
gotta.
you try to unstick yourself from this chair, but it is almost as if like invisible bindings, almost like invisible like shackles have restricted your hands and your feet from movement. Um, you cannot seem to actually like get up the way you wish, but it still continues slowly bending backwards, creating an arch.
Um. Can I?
And oh, go ahead.
I'm trying to decide if can you in can I dirty myself with violence on inanimate objects?
You absolutely can.
I wanna do it. I wanna fuck them up. I wanna.
Yeah, for sure. So tell me how you want to fuck up the chair, and then go ahead and roll for me.
So I think as I like twist and jerk in the chair, I think what I want to do eventually is I'm just gonna try to break it with you know how like when you grip something and then you like force a chair to like jump with your own body weight. I want to try to like I stopped like jerking around and trying to peel myself off of the chair and I'm gonna try to like break its legs on the ground and try to like break the chair into pieces so I can get out and or like slam it to the side and try to like roll out of it.
Okay.
Um it's 2d6, right?
Yep, 2d6 and then add carnality, which I think is your
That's my good one.
yeah.
Okay. 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 That's a 2, a 5 plus a 1, so 5, 6, 7, 8.
An 8. Okay. So you get to choose. So you inflict trauma onto the item as established, and you choose one. You can either disable the chair, you can silence the chair, or mutilate the chair. But your vulnerability either opens you up to trauma or your carelessness leaves you in a bad spot because you rolled a 7 to 9.
Mhm. think in this case, I'm just gonna disable him. I don't think
Okay.
I don't think we've yeah, yes, I do know. I personally had a visceral reaction to mutilate. You know what? No, it's a one shot. Let's do it. Let's mutilate it. Just
You
I think
know, for fun.
I think
For
I escaped
fun
the
as a
You
chair
know,
and
treat.
I
for
escaped the
shits and
chair and
gigs.
I get up and then I'm not fucking finished with it. I'm gonna start picking it up and slamming it against the stone walls of this fucking basement until it's kindling to feed to the fucking fireplace. Uh
Damn, Tinson made the best pun in chat just now. You're cherishing this moment, aren't you?
with all of my little heart.
Yeah,
And
you. Oh, go ahead.
yeah, and I think what the consequence I'm gonna take is that my carelessness leaves me open for a bad spot. Because I'm just fucking this thing up.
Okay, great. So your hands, long, elegant, get with nails that are pointed, sharp, almost as feral as the way as you're thrashing in this chair right now. Grip the armrests as you attempt to wrest yourself from the chair. You violently convulse in a desperate attempt to break the chair or completely just smash it into bits, into almost small enough confetti that it could be used in the frivolity upstairs. But eventually, you hear it clang and groan, and you hear the leather start to rip and tear underneath the weight of you just completely demolishing this chair. And then finally, when you hear the damp wood, um, not splinter because it's too wet to splinter, but it just kind of, I don't want to say squishes, but you know when you, okay, there's not a good word for this, but you know when you're like, you go to like a playground and they have like wood chips instead of wood chips instead of like grass or whatever.
It's
And you,
porous. It's
yes,
spongy.
yes, it almost just condenses, the chair condenses, um because it's so spongy, it's so laden with wet. But it you feel it just fall beneath you, giving up finally the last little bit of weight, and you tumble out. Um, when you the the all of the commotion, all of the rocking, all of the thrashing, all of the movement actually knocks over the side table right beside the chairs, um, and um, and the glass hurricane lamp knocks over and breaks. The oil inside the glass hurricane lamp splashes all over the rug, and starts flooding into the wood humidor itself. Um, the fire from the lamp um, starts to catches on the oil from the lamp, and spreads to the humidor. Um, what do you do?
I mean, I suppose I don't want to, smoke up the whole house. Uh and or this windowless room in which I am in and will surely die of smoke inhalation. Um I will try. I don't think I can put it out like so it's on the rug. So what I'm gonna try to do is I'm gonna try to get to the other side of the rug and start kind of folding it in on itself to smother. Kind of like to smother the flames as best as I can. Um, and if that isn't working, if that doesn't work, then I'll probably throw open the door and go get one of the elves, some of the elves to help deal with this
Uh,
problem.
yeah, let me.
Because you should always try to smother a fire like this. You don't want to throw anything on it.
Oh, I know, I know. I'm just seeing if I can torture you by making you do a move.
Oh, go ahead.
You took the rooster.
I sure did. You want me to
Oh
go
shit. Okay,
yell at
so
somebody?
to direct an order to an NPC. Okay. I see what you were trying to get at. Okay. Well, no, I don't think an NPC would actually be down here right now. So what happens instead is you are able to like move the other, like quickly, like toss the other chair and the table aside and start smothering the flame with the rug. But as you do, you catch glimpses of two faces in the humidor itself, and like the and like the glass window panes of the humidor that allow you to like see into it, of two bodies hung bent completely backwards, like this, the faces upside down peering directly into your soul, of weight of time and years gone by. The faces of two women, their hair completely stick straight, and staring directly into you the way Prancer's dad stared into your eyes behind the locked door of the humidor.
Should we help them?
I don't think they can be helped.
I think what the animus is gonna do is puts out the fire, uh, and like crouches in front of that reflection, looking back at them, and then looks over her shoulder at Prancer's Prancer's dad on the wall and says, "Do you see them too? Here, now, still?"
They learned their lesson. I think you did too, but in a different way.
I'm gonna. Can I pick what the token is?
Absolutely, you pick what the token is. Are you proposing a truth?
I am proposing a truth.
Please propose a truth of your husband. There's
think
so many items in this room. You know, there's the lamp, there's, you can bits of the chair, Prancer's dad, maybe.
Oh, I'm wrenching one of Prancer's dad's antlers right off his little head.
Hell yeah. Fuck yeah.
Cannabis?
Incredible.
Oh my
Amazing.
god.
I
All
don't
right.
I don't appreciate cryptic bullshit in the place of warnings. Just take that shit.
Is this a token of faithfulness or a token of disloyalty?
Uh, this is probably, I don't think I think of it in either of those ways. It's just a frustration for me, but I think it is in reality the disloyalty, this kind of rage. Because I think the truth of this room and the rot and the waste of it is that this is a place where old expectations of, you know, the actual, like, the literal sense of, like, bending over backwards for someone to meet their needs is. And, you know, the kind of, like, as the Virgin had called it before, the, like, the man cave, gentleman's club aspect of it, like, this this is your home, this is your whole house, why do you need someplace to get away from your family?
What do your sisters have to say about this? Do you agree?
I think this seriously calls. I agree that it's a token of disloyalty. I think this seriously calls into question our husband's housekeeping. He clearly needs a wife if he's going to let rooms fall into such disrepair. This is this is distressing. If he's going to let rooms fall into such disrepair that they literally snap people in half, oh, that's not okay.
Darling,
We might have to have a conversation with him about this.
darling, I think you are missing the point. This is beyond a need for housekeeping. This is a room where he both leaves trophies and then abandons them. I thought the trophies were the dresses upstairs. No, there are two bodies here, two previous wives, the head of, well, I don't much like Prancer's father, but he did indicate that Nicholas was a friend, and this is what he chooses to do with him.
I agree. This is concerning. This is concerning. I'm concerned. I think that you know, it's a good thing that we're a lot quicker than those girls were. Those poor things.
I'm leaving this room.
You're leaving this room. And I don't think this detail matters, but I'm calling it canon, and I hope y'all agree. I think the plaque of the reindeer trophy just says Prancer's dad.
That tracks.
Damn.
Yeah,
Rude.
that's fucked up.
I
That's
know that
fucked
was a
up.
I know that was like a throwaway like joke in chat, but actually I love it. Thank you, chat, for contributing. This is collaborative storytelling. So Animus, uh, do you retain the key? I mean, do you retain the key ring and the ring itself, or do you pass it to one of your sisters?
I think I retain it, at least for now, mostly because I just wanna describe a key.
Yeah.
Um, and so I think as she walks back up the stairs towards, uh, the workshop and where, like, the elves are and things, uh, she's just, like, her hands are, like, still kinda shaking, but she's, like, looking for something to do, and so she starts flipping through
Yeah.
the key ring, not even, like, really looking, just flipping and flipping and flipping, and then her hand, like, the skin of her hand, like, catches on one because it all of a sudden, like, the texture of it isn't it's, like, that, like, weird brushed metal type of ma like, material that, like, catches and, like, tugs against the palm of your skin, like,
Ooh.
that, like, tough kind of, like, and it's, like, thicker, matte black material, this brushed material, and it's large and heavy, and as she looks at it closer. She kind of turns it in her hands. She sees that there's like soft little indents into the teeth of it, kind of like it's been people have tried to use it for several doors, and they don't, and they've never found the door that it opens. But it,
Okay.
it it's wrought and heavy and just like a almost ominously matte material. Other keys that are, the metal, it shines and they gleam, and this does not.
One quick thing. I think I want to make everyone but the witch, because the witch is immune to trauma. I want to make everyone take, so that would be the animus and the virgin, 2 trauma. And then the animus, because you had to escape a chair, I'm going to make you take 1 more trauma.
Where's my trauma track? I forgot to write that shit down. How much trauma do we get?
5.
Oh no. Okay.
I was like, oh shit, I haven't inflicted trauma on anybody, but I think that first room was like a little gentle and like sweet and sentimental, and I was like, oh, maybe no trauma there, but this
I was
trauma was fucked up.
fully ready for you to strangle me with that dress.
I was ready for you to for the dress to cinch in to a 3-inch waist size and break our ribs like that one fucking version of Snow White.
Yeah,
I
fully
felt
prepared for
nice,
that.
and then I fucked you up. Okay,
You
anyway,
Yeah,
let's go.
then you
promised
fucked
to
us
fuck
up.
us up.
No, it was great. It was great. It was a great fake out.
Yeah,
It definitely got the virgin more firmly on Bluebeard's side.
absolutely. All right, so I think this next room. This next room is also in the basement. Actually, it's not too far from where you're standing, Mrs. Claus, Animus. This next room uh, is the one furthest from the stairs, but you can see on the floor. You can see on the floor where the footsteps, uh, like the path of footsteps, kind of go in, but they don't enter the room. They turn right back around and then go back up. And the pattern is the pattern repeats over and over and over again. It is a similar door as the one that you just left. Big, heavy wood, thick doors with wrought iron hinges rusted where the actual hinge is. It has a very like thin key plate. The key fits in the hole just about, and the doorknob itself is rather one of those like knockers. I would like to know what the animus is thinking actually as you approach this door. Also, the wood of the door is starting to warp and turn very similarly to the wood of the door from the humidor room.
It's puzzling. It itches at my brain because this key holding it, you would think it leads to like the ornate front door of the manor, or maybe to like an outer building where things like coal or wood or supplies are stored, something that needs to be extra secure, not just from the elements but from people looting the resource in the cold of the winter. So to find it here in this basement is bizarre and almost too much to ignore. And so standing on the stairs, no, I think it's too much for her to reconcile, and she approaches it.
You approach the door, and again, that uneasy feeling um, twists and turns itself in your gut, similarly to the way that you had to twist and turn yourself in the chair to escape. But you're here in the basement. You're here in Santa's workshop, and there is no escape. Not yet, anyway. And thus you must press on. And with the faces of the two previous brides, I mean, time has worn them down. The time has worn them down so much that they almost held no real features except for the fact that they were female and had long hair that drifted ramrod straight down from their position. Uh, Again, bearing those two faces in mind, you take note that people have attempted to use this key in the door, or at least some key in this door, multiple times, unnamed the right one, turned away, gave up too soon, but you got it in one. You were able to find the right key just intuitively. And it slides in, like greeting an old friend. You twist the lock, and the tumblers within the lock don't want to give at first. It's almost like they've rusted over internally from so many years of disuse and neglect, but with some jiggling and some force. I mean, the Animus is known for force. You are able to prise the door open, and the same from the rusted hinges squeals, tinning, a cacophony in your ears as you open this door. And almost as immediately as you open the door, the smell of like rust and iron and decay wafts over your nose. There's a light switch not too far from where you're standing, and you're able to reach over and turn it on. It takes a minute for the lights to flicker on. The lights, I mean, the light bulbs in here, instead of your standard, now standard LED lights that last for ages, instead they're like warm yet fading, like Edison light bulbs. The long elongated with the coils still, bare, just hanging on cords and cords on strings throughout like the length of the room. The room feels like it's expansive, filled with machinery of a time gone by that you would not recognize looking at it. But it's certainly not anything that had been of use within the last 100, 200 years, perhaps. Um, you, but it's still here. It's almost as if the room had been forgotten because, God, can you imagine how painful, how many lives might have been lost, like loading all of this, building all of this? What would it have been like trying to remove all of it once the room had served its purpose? Machinery, I mean, is set up almost like an assembly line, similar to the way that it's set up now in the modern, updated, fresh, state of the art, and OSHA compliant warehouse above. But this is not that.
I
This
don't
is
believe.
Santa's original.
Sorry, breaking the mood. I
Oh,
don't
you don't
believe.
believe what?
I don't believe a goddamn second that workshop is OSHA compliant. I want to get some inspectors in here.
100%.
I'm just trying to illustrate how different it is
I get
to
you.
this room,
I get you.
Della.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm breaking the
No,
mood.
you're good. You're so good. You're so good. You're valid. But yeah, so what do? This is Santa's first workshop. Abandoned. Left to decay and rot, much like everything in the previous room, but it's cold and unfeeling here. There's no room for comfort in this room.
I had thought this area, this place before as the basement, the foundation of the manor, the workshop. Now I wonder if it was the original house itself, made small and buried by the years passing and the need to expand. And so I wonder what other things might have been forgotten here. And I think I will enter, but I think unlike the other rooms that we've gone in so far, I think the bride leaves this door deliberately open. I don't think she trusts the ground to be quite so steady in here. As I will go in and take a look at the history of my husband's work, of his practice and craft.
Your footsteps echo as if like hooves on cobblestone as you walk over the concrete floor of this basement. Uh you there is you, you get the sense that any noise in here would echo endlessly off of all of the hard, unfeeling, cold surfaces of the metal machinery, the concrete walls that stand, the concrete cinder block walls that stand, each cinder block staggered. Unfortunately, there are. Oh my God, that scared the shit out of me. Oh my God, my husband fed my cat, and I was like, huh? Oh my God.
You spooked yourself.
I scared my damn self. Oh
You
man.
shivering in fear, Amber?
No, I'm the GM. I'm not supposed to.
It's okay. You can have a little
I was
fear.
like, a
It's a
snake
treat.
in my house?
No.
But yeah, it's dark and cold and echoey in here, but the fuck do you do?
I mean, I think I do search for anything that maybe my husband has forgotten here that I could take to him to give him as like a not a gift of like giving him his own object, but like as like a when you go to like you go home again and your parent finds something and they're like, "Oh, look at this. Don't you remember from when you were young?" And then, something to reminisce over. So try to look for something that might have some kind of like sentimental value that he might have like forgotten that I can like present to him as a way to have him like tell me more about, his past, share with me um, his life as, you know, the expectation of I am I am your wife.
Yeah. You can see as you walk through and start searching for anything to give back to your husband as a trinket of proudly showing that you made it into his first workshop. Oh my gosh, what a feat. How many years has it been since this room was last even acknowledged, let alone entered. But you mostly find like little scraps here and there of wrapping paper. You find scraps of cloth that made up dolls, teddy bears, dresses, clothing. You find you find discarded pieces of threads of needles rusted over from time, from blood. And I think finally you come across like an early conveyor belt, with the gears that in with gears interlocking together, rolling along to move the conveyor belt. To You look within that to see if there's any, like, maybe he hid something back there. No one would deign to stick their hands or anything in the gears of a conveyor belt while it was still on. So, um, but you peer back there. You find scraps of clothing, sure, but it's nothing like the children's clothing that the you saw littered throughout the room. No, instead, the clothing you find is similar to uh, the uniforms the elves currently wear upstairs. Large chunks of clothing with time rotted flesh still attached to it, blood soaked through the threads. You see, you reach your hand into the machine, and you feel it turn and wiggle, stuck just like the key was, um, and pull out what seems to be uh, like a mummified hand of an elf, small, lithe, delicate, very much unlike your own hands that were made for working. Elves' hands were not made for working. Elves' hands were made for giving out toys, for throwing snowballs, for drinking hot cocoa, not for literally being worn down to the bone. What do you do?
Amber,
Yes.
I think I would like to cause problems on purpose. And by that, I mean, I think I want to shiver from fear.
Oh, you want to cause problems on purpose? You?
Me? I? Never. Yes. Um, I want to shiver from fear, and I think the thing that I fear happening as I'm standing here beside this machine and holding it, I'm just thinking about all of the horrors of the revolution, and the way these machines would just catch on any kind of long clothing or untied up hair or anything loose, and would jerk somebody into the machine. And that's clearly what had to have happened to this hand that I just dislodged. And I dislodged it from this machine that could turn on at any moment as I stand far too close in my skirts and long sleeves
And your hair
and my
worn
very,
down.
very long hair. And I'm going to pass the ring, and the thing that I'm choosing, uh I will say that this uh it has the bride in its clutches right now. peak problem
Okay.
on purpose behavior.
I love it. Thank you for choosing that.
I will
Hold
always
on.
choose the horrors. And I'm making it
Hell yeah.
the virgin's problem.
I thought since there were
Okay.
bones involved, you would give it to JD.
Oh,
No bones for JD.
it's mummified. It's not
No
bones.
bones.
It's different.
There's bones in there. I'll give you
Listen,
some
you
bones,
can
JD. It's
always
fine.
escape. You can always. I don't know why I was going to say you can always make the bones escape, but you know, you can.
Well, first the virgin's got to escape.
Listen,
So, oh, go ahead.
I've actually got nothing to say. I was just saying listen in the hopes that maybe something would come to mind and I would somehow get us out of this mess. But I think I might just get crunched up by machinery. So what the hell?
Yeah, I do want to make the animus take one trauma
That's fine. Go ahead.
but I also you pass the ring over, and I want to know what's going through the witch's mind and the virgin's mind as the ring is passed to the virgin, and you kind of reflect on like, oh my god, the elves died here. Elves died here, and they've been here for who knows how long, dead.
I think the witch is angry with the animus for making this decision in the way that she did, because this is now throwing the virgin into the middle of this mess in a way that she does not deserve and is not warranted. And this feels like a bit of a betrayal from the animus making this choice, because the virgin may be naive, but this is not the way to break her out of it. This feels cruel and uncaring.
What say the virgin?
I think the virgin is kind of blind to all of that because uh you know the animus hurts other people, but this never hurt her. We're buddies. uh I think that her mind is she's fully engrossed in the horror of this hand, and running through her mind is just the image of Sprinkle caught in a machine like this, and the idea that she could be our friend, our only friend we've made so far here, and we've only spoken to her for so little time that she might wind up discarded like a wedding dress or a reindeer. That's horrifying.
What's
That
even more
probably,
horrifying? Go ahead.
I think that has her full attention, and so she's not even noticing the danger.
As the as the virgin goes to try to stand up from removing her hand from behind the gears, uh, and the gears continue to jiggle and jostle, and you know the lace that the virgin trimmed off of the wedding dress from the first bride gets caught in the rusted, worn gears. And unfortunately, damn, I think that hand that the elf was looking for was actually on the emergency switch, and you hit it as you were getting, as you were removing your hand. And so after years of neglect, after years of being gone and forgotten, replaced with newer, shinier, more productive, more efficient machinery, this machine turns to life for the first time in ages. And you're caught in it by the neck. What do you do, Virgin?
Let me see. I think the virgin is going to panic. And I think the virgin is going to cry out for help. And I'm going to roll with resilience.
Wonderful.
And let's see what
Okay,
I
just
get.
for the folks at home, crying out for help means when you break down and cry out for help, you roll plus resilience. On a hit, a house servant comes to address your concerns to calm your hysteria. On a 7 to 9, they help you, but first they need proof of your loyalty to Bluebeard. So, bearing that in mind, Della, what did you roll?
I am rolling as we speak. That's a 10. That's a 10.
Amazing. Amazing. Incredible.
I knew you'd get us out of
You,
this.
Really
yeah,
glad that
you.
was a 10 because I had contingency plans and none of them were fun. They were bad. They were bad.
You, with one of the final gasps of air that you can get with your neck being caught in between, with the lace on your neck being caught in these gears, and you can feel your neck start to be pulled in more and more and more, and even like the lapel of your dress starting to get chewed up by the machinery. You summon all of the strength and air in your lungs, the power in your diaphragm, and just holler. I'm not going to mime it because I don't want to blow out my mic in all of your ears, but you holler. Loud, piercing, almost as tinny and cacophonous as the creak of the door when you opened it. But it manages to, the sound of your scream manages to cut through the sounds of the party above, the sounds of rocking around the Christmas tree. And it takes a few minutes, and you hear from upstairs the the hurried, frenzied footsteps of of several elves as they try to find the source of the scream. You scream one more time, maybe potentially actually your last breath, just as a pair of small hands, not meant for working, not meant for doing hard labor, but meant for celebrating. A pair of small hands meant for doing detailed work, finery. Takes a pair of scissors and cuts through your dress, leaving you kind of exposed, from here, like in a one shoulder kind of moment, and rests you free from the uh, conveyor belt gears. This is a dark-skinned elf, as with skin as dark rosy as chestnut, roasting on an open fire. His hair is long, in hair is long in several braids that go around his head, and a jaunty little cheery cap sits on top of his head, like most of the elves. His pointy ears kind of stick out from underneath, and he looks at you with bright green eyes and worry in his voice, um, as he helps you to your feet. Oh, Mrs. Claus, I'm so sorry. I heard you screaming. I'm so sorry. It took me so long to get you. I just wasn't sure where you were coming from, and then I saw that the basement door was open, and this door was open, and are you okay? Are you okay? Santa's going to kill me. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Thank you. Thank you. You saved my life. You saved my life. Oh, thank you.
Uh, you're welcome, madam. Can I get you anything? Do you need like a hot toddy, maybe some old wine? I can get you some eggnog. What can do you just want to rest against the wall here? What can I do for you?
Water would be lovely.
His eyes dart, worried, concerned around, um, looking desperately for water. Uh, in the brief moments between him hearing your request for water and finding at the very end of the room, like an old, like steel deep sink, like an industrial sink. Um, you can hear the grinding of the machine still going, uh, until it finally jams for good on the tattered pieces of your dress, including the lace that you promised to care for. Uh, the the elf turns on the tap when he gets there, and it takes a moment to sputter to life. The only just coming out in short bursts. Um, his hands are tremor, shaking, terrified as he finds a discarded mason jar that's been broken at the top. You have to be very careful to not cut yourself on it, but it's the only thing that could hold water that's down here still. But finally, he gets enough water from the sink to turn off the tap and run over to deliver it to you. Then he hands it to you. Is this enough? Are you okay? Are you going to tell Santa? I'm so sorry. I didn't mean for this to happen. We had no idea.
It's all right. It's nobody's fault but mine. I thank you so much for hearing and for being here. I She pauses and sort of looks worried. I don't I don't know much about your people, elves. I don't know if you have any uh um rites or rituals for your dead, but there's there's a hand caught in the machinery, I think quite a long time ago. I don't I don't know if it's something that you it, I don't it doesn't feel right to leave it here.
He, the elf closes his eyes, and he winces, taking a deep inhale as he does so. We have been asked, Mrs. Claus, to not waste too much time on those who have passed, as they could take away from our expressions of cheer, especially during the holiday season. I appreciate your care and concern, but I can't disobey orders. But if you would like to hold on to that hand, I'm sure I would like to be held one more time.
Oh. Oh, yes. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry you had to see this on our most joyous of nights. He helps you up and places a hand at the small of your back to gently guide you out. Would
We're
you
almost we're almost all the way out the door when she says, "Wait, wait, wait!" And she will run back and grab the hand and like hold it.
like to propose a truth?
I think I would. This was the death that closed this workshop. This death was not the first death. It was one of many. But this death was so egregious, so obvious, so obviously preventable in every way that this death had kicked off a rebellion. A rebellion that had been put down. But in so doing, in putting down that rebellion, Santa, being not a fool, realized that some care needed to be taken lest he lose access to this resource of these elves, of these workers. Updated machinery is cheap in the long term. And so this factory was closed and sealed and forgotten, except for those who have long memories.
Is this a token of faithfulness or a token of disloyalty?
Oh, you bet it's disloyalty.
Mark 1 trauma!
Hey! How much trauma am I marking from almost getting fucking mauled? Sucked through a goddamn, almost getting my ass choked out by fucking
Industrial Revolution,
Industrial
baby.
Revolution era shit.
I think it's 3, which should maybe put you at 6 trauma.
Yeah, that shatters me.
Fuck! Holy shit!
Shatters me.
I
Like, I just took one.
think it makes total sense that it would shatter the virgin.
Yeah, this has been the virgin has been completely forced into uh this place of unwitting, unasked for wisdom, and that ends her. She can't be naive. She can't be innocent. She can't pretend and pull on her braid and act like the world can be better than this.
When you shatter, you have something that you have to read.
We are no longer whole. Our connection is severed. Our mind is fragmented. Our deepest fears are exposed. Our blood feeds the horrors, and I welcome.
So, I've actually never been at a table where someone shattered. Hell yeah. Let's go. Good job, Della.
F's in chat for the virgin.
Yeah, can we get an F in the chat for the virgin? So, all right. Just for the sake of time, what we've done, because we're going to definitely go over, but I think we're having too much fun with this. For the sake of time, instead of doing like 3 tokens to that we decide whether or not Santa's a bad guy, we're going to do, we're doing 2 tokens to determine, you know, what the fate is for our, before we enter our final room. And we have determined with 2 tokens of disloyalty versus 1 token of faithfulness that we don't trust Santa. We definitely do not trust Santa.
It's Jeff
So,
Bezos wannabe motherfucker.
I know. I have a question for the 3 of you, and you can feel free to discuss amongst yourselves. But you have 2 options. When the bride collects enough evidence to prove her husband's malicious intentions as a disloyal bride, it is time for you to make a choice. Do you... Hold on. Wait. Actually, you have 3 options. Would you... And no matter what you do, you can do this. Hold on. Oh my god. Sorry. I'm like confusing myself. Okay. Your main 2 options are this. Are you going to present the evidence of your... Are you going to present the evidence of your husband's abuses and your husband's neglect and horrors to the town to demonstrate that he is not the jolly old elf that everyone thinks he is? Or would you like to run away and start anew? And would you still like to go in the final room?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
The horrors. The horrors.
He said he didn't want us in there. I'm going in there.
Fuck that man.
Fuck that man.
We should ruin his life. He's ruined ours.
I'd be down to drag his reputation through the mud.
Agreed, others need to know. It's been behind closed doors for far, far, far too long.
Which one of these fucking keys? Rattle these keys. Which one is his broom?
Okay. Virgin, do you give up? I assume you give up the ring to one of your sisters.
Oh yeah. Right, because I'm outie.
Yeah, you're outie. I mean, you can still like
We still value each
contribute.
other.
You can still
Contribute.
talk, but like
Mhm.
your moves, donezo. You can't take the face anymore.
Legit. legit. Yeah, no, I will pass it to the witch.
I think that
Get,
feels appropriate.
get that man.
Like,
Get his ass.
get his ass. Ruin his whole day.
Our witch, why don't you do me a favor and describe the key to Santa's office?
You might expect it would be particularly gaudy because it goes to such a prime place, but that would also make it far too obvious. And I think in a lot of ways, he has made it a key that is going to blend in with the others as much as is possible. Muted colors of metal, no indications in even kind of the handle of the key that this would go to a special room, no special filigree. But there's something in the teeth. The teeth are sharp. And that is what lets the witch know that even though everything else about this key is perfectly neutral, it goes to a place he does not want to be found. It comes with the promise of pain.
You find it, exactly. Hidden in plain sight, the key to Santa's office. And I mean, everyone knows where Santa's office is. I mean, it is right in the heart of the workshop. It is the door that stands just inside when you go inside the workshop itself. Um, even though you've only been here in the compound for a few weeks, it is impossible to miss this door. Again, hidden in plain sight. It's so normal to you now. It is when you're the elf that saved you from the gears trails behind you, worried as you steadfastly make your way up the stairs and in through the hallway, down the corridors the um into the workshop, and make a beeline straight for the office door. It's one of those offices that, like, has like the half window, right, that he can peer into the workshop from it. It's one of those offices that, like, there's like a small flight of stairs that goes up and then like kind of sits over to like a panopticon. um and no one is invited up. Only Santa is allowed to go up to this office. From there is like a half panel of just sheet glass wherein you can see the Christmas tree, or at least the top half of the Christmas tree, glowing, warm, inviting, festive. You can see the garlands from where you're standing at the entrance of the workshop, and the angel bearing your face at the top of the tree. Uh, but on you march, dedicated, sure of yourself, with a major part of your personality gone from trauma. You climb up those stairs, the thunk of every foot silencing the sounds of the party all around you, and every single eye of every single elf in this room is staring directly at you. No one chances a breath for fear of interrupting what you're about to do. And so you walk up those stairs, one hand gripped resolutely around the railing, your dress torn and tattered in a way that other elves have probably seen but never spoken of, but never displayed so brazenly before. The door is simple. It is a wooden door with one of those, again, like a glass panel. It's frosted over, so you can't see inside, but you could just make out like the silhouettes of like filing cabinets and bookshelves. In gold paint on in very cursive, curling, friendly print, it says Saint Nicholas, comma, Santa Claus, Esquire. I needed a little comedic moment. You slide the key in, and again, it feels just like any normal door key. None of these other strange and unusual keys that you've felt throughout the day. It slides in easy. It unlocks easy. The door gives easy, as if it's expecting Santa's hand and not yours. And you walk in.
I think in the moment before the witch walks in, she turns just the slightest bit from the door, looking at that angel on the tree that bears her face. And in a deftly practiced move, she reaches up and braids her long hair back, and then turns and walks in.
I love that. Sorry, Della, I know you said, I mean, he's evil, so he's probably got to combine JD and NBA, but all I can think is like, oh, Santa's JD? Yeah, I've seen
Oh.
JD run games. Evil as hell.
No,
I have
not
done
wrong.
nothing wrong ever in my life.
Listen, in this instance, truly JD is innocent of the horrors.
That is
Yeah,
true.
At this moment, you're innocent of the horrors. I got 4 ghosts in my head in your other game, though, so
Tonight and tonight only. You are innocent. So you braid your hair, and it's almost like collectively the elves exchange glances nervously, like, oh my god, open defiance. They've heard through whispers and exchanges in jingle language of the rebellion of years, decades past, but no one has dared chance it again in the intervening centuries for fear of facing the same fate as the original strikers. But you throw the braid over your shoulder and throw your shoulders back and stride into that office. When you do, the smell of cinnamon and freshly baked cookies overwhelms you like a heavy perfume. It's vanilla, it's comfort, it's warmth, it's baking spices and maybe hints of orange citrus, maybe a little bit of the tang of red wine. You hear nothing in here except the crackling of the roaring fire in the fireplace. Because of course Santa has to have a fireplace. How else is he going to get in here in secret? You see a large wooden desk. No hutch over top. He has no need for those things. With many drawers covered entirely with papers, the list that he checks twice to find out if people are naughty or nice. He has little samples of coal from other coal distributors that he's been sent to determine which is the variety he's going to put in bad kid stockings this year. He has empty bottles of spiced bourbon littering just the side of his desk, kind of creating like stacked on their side and stacked on top of each other. But the main, I mean, there's of course, like filing cabinets, a leather desk chair. He loves his leather. And is Santa a leather daddy? We're gonna have to workshop that in Santa's workshop. Hey, it all comes back together.
A poll in that chat.
Will.
I feel like the
He's in his
answer is
session 0 right now.
I know he is. But the main part, the main thing that draws everyone's eye in this room is the Christmas tree that feels overwhelming, overpowering the moment you step in. It is tall. It 9, 10, 11 feet tall, made even taller by, again, the angel that must have just been recently made as it carries your face. It has tinsel, the kind that almost feels like it's made of fiberglass, where it sticks to your hand and embeds itself into your skin if you touch it the wrong way. The ornaments are placed delicately yet methodically, very structured. Not like gleefully placed by someone who just wanted to decorate the tree. And then underneath are boxes upon boxes of gifts that Santa has wrapped and left himself. All the same size, roughly like cube shaped. What do you do?
The witch walks in and takes a look at each of those aspects of the office and then walks right over to the tree, looks at the tree, and chooses the ornament that seems placed in, if not the at least a position of honor, and then crushes it in her hand. And I would like to use my move, the medium.
Oh my god. Okay, great. Let me turn to the page.
As I spill my blood on the Christmas tree.
Fuck me, dude. Okay. The medium, for those at home, spill your blood to commune with the horrors of this room. Mark one trauma, and the groundskeeper will share whisperings about what happened here and might ask you a question or two. Answer them. The ornament you choose, the one that's placed in the position of honor in direct eyesight of the door. Like, if you were to sweep through the room and look at the tree, this is the ornament your eyes would land on. It is a plain white enamel ornament, but painted by hand with a portrait in like a cameo style of Santa looking just the same age as ever. And there is a woman standing next to him with her hair's very similar to yours, long, red, rolling in waves down your back. But in her eyes, her gleaming silver eyes, there's genuine love. She looks up at Santa with a warm, glowing smile emblazoned on her face, and Santa looks down with the same expression. And the remaining scraps of lace on your dress feel heavy, weighted. It makes you feel like this is the memorial ornament or something of the first bride. As you crush this ornament and you feel the shards of this enamel embed into your skin and slice up. Oh, quick check. Is this okay? Like, okay, great. This is me as GM doing my due diligence. Okay, great. As you crush the ornament, embed into your skin, you stumble a bit from the shock of like so much has gone on, but this is like the first time you've actually like inflicted this wound upon yourself, but not in a way to like deliberately harm yourself, but in like a act of defiance. You stumble and kick over a couple of the presents that were stacked on each other underneath the tree. And you hear a similar voice echo through your ears, like in the dress room. I'm not the only one in this room. Save the rest of your sisters. Here, we're not safe here. You're not safe here. You're not safe here. This is not a safe place for brides. Please end the cycle. What do you do?
We should run.
Back to town.
No, we should stay and we should help. And I think already she's looking, trying to see like, are there other ornaments? Are there other indications on the packages beneath the tree? Things that would let her know who else is trapped here.
But if we stay and he comes back and we die, then we can't warn other people. We
You were
can't warn
willing
other
to
women.
sacrifice our sister. I think we can spare a few more
We will
minutes.
die, and others will die behind us.
Are
And
we
what
so
if it
right?
were us? What if it were us who were trapped? Would you not want someone to help?
You can't help the dead, you can only help who's come the living.
That's not true.
And it's kind of because we chose the disloyalty track.
You said that you want to investigate the presents underneath the tree.
I will spend at least a few moments doing that.
The Animus desperately tries to get you to remove yourself from this office, but the curiosity of the gifts before you is just too much to bear. So you stoop down, and with your bloodied hand, you pick up a few of the tags, like the to from tags that are tied to the ribbons around the boxes. You leave your bloodied fingerprints behind where you pinch it. And it says, to Santa from Marie. You check another, to Santa from Rosie. to Santa from Nicole. And each box is labeled with a similar tag like that, to Santa from a woman's name, and Kimberly, Michelle, Peyton, Mackenzie. All of the boxes are the same weight. There's like dozens of boxes underneath this tree. Do you open one?
I do.
You open the box labeled Catherine. And the wrapping paper is gorgeous. There is a wreath pattern on the wrapping paper with holly berries and little pine cones. Occasionally, the repeat of like a robin, full breasted, mouth open in song. But you tear open that wrapping paper and interrupt the bird's song so that you can open the box. You lift the lid from the box underneath, and there's Catherine's head.
Oh, what a day!
Wrapped in a bow.
What a lovely day!
Oh my god, wow. Hi, Raiders. Hi, Singularity Roleplay. Thank you so much for raiding. You came in at a really spooky time.
The horror is persisting.
We just opened a present underneath Santa's Christmas tree, and it was somebody's head in a box.
It'd be like
What's
that.
in the box?
Be like that sometimes.
Hey, friends from Singularity Roleplay, thank you so much for joining us. This is Live from the Apocalypse. We are a oh my god, hold on. We are a not-for-profit TTRPG studio that raises money for aid organizations and good causes. This is one of our games for Haz-Mas, our annual holiday event. We're raising money for Railroad, the Canadian branch, and we are just under $200 away from meeting our goal. So if you would like to support queer folks in Canada and make a queer person's holidays a little bit brighter, we would love to implore you to donate. We are playing Bluebeard's Bride and wrapping up Bluebeard's Bride. Sorry for the pun. Not sorry for the pun. Which is a horror game. So if you don't like heads and boxes, this is not the game for you. But thank you for coming in. So that being said, it's Catherine's head. You could tell that her skin, olive toned, dark on the darker side. What would have been in life, olive toned on the darker side. Hints of yellow and gold throughout. She had freckles on her cheeks. You can't see her eyes, they're closed. But a delicate red velvet ribbon is tied around her neck to obscure where it has been removed from her body. Her hair is now brittle and no longer holds the sheen that once adorned its dark black tresses. What do you do?
I think on sheer instinct that she does not even understand, the witch kind of cradles Catherine's face in her hands and then presses her forehead to hers and just quietly says, I'm so sorry.
I just took trauma. Genuinely. I know we've been joking all game about it, but actually that hurt. You press your forehead against your fallen sisters in an act of grace and kindness that she very clearly was not shown in life. And it's almost like you can see visions of what her life was with Santa about 50 years ago. And it wasn't too different than your experience. She was handpicked from the village just in the North Pole. He came to her door maybe weeks after the previous Mrs. Claus was found dead. You see the weeks she had with Santa, joyful and loving and feeling like she was on display and treasured for once, cherished. But now her head sits in a box and you think, and she thinks that she's still cherished. She's still Santa's gift to himself. But at least she's been opened finally. No longer left to sit and wait to be recognized.
And I think
Did you mark one trauma from this?
I am adding it now. I am at 3.
Oh no, I meant from doing your spilling your blood earlier.
Oh yeah, I already did that.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, great. Unionize the wife's ghost. Incredible. All right. Yeah, I want to hear from the other two sisters here. What do y'all feel about this? The witch is like, I am one with this head. We're best buds. What do you feel?
We're about to be another head in a box. That's what I feel. I feel like we're about to be another head in a box. And I mean, at this point, I'm okay with that.
You almost lost your head in the basement anyway.
I sure did. And then I shattered about it.
Yep, you real did.
I think all this does for the the witch's inclinations are not, I think, new or surprising or odd to the Animus. This show is not unexpected, but I think the information that the Animus gleans from this is that this if they don't get out now, they'll never be able to prove it, but if we prove it, we can come back for the rest of them with the others. And if we take Catherine with us, since the witch seems so taken with her, then we can definitely try to use it in the village to prove this and get people to come back with us to get the others.
I think this is an excellent time to ask our wrap-up questions here. But before I ask those, Witch, you've just been shown all of these visions after pressing your forehead to Catherine's. What do you do? How do you feel?
The witch feels saying that she feels sad and angry doesn't really encompass it. She cannot get how Catherine still felt like she was giving something, even at this time, even after what was done to her, that there was a part of her that still felt like she was serving a role. And that is a piece that the witch really can't let go of. And so she is listening to the animus. She agrees, seeing that there is one head in a box and presumably many more heads in boxes. She knows that they need to move, but she does take a moment to just run her fingers through Catherine's hair and say, "You are worth so much more than what he showed you. And you are worth more than having to wait on him to give you attention. And you are worth more than how he left you. And I am going to prove that to you. I am going to show that to you. I am going to make sure that you know you deserve to be cherished. Because you do. And this is not being cherished."
Anyone can answer these questions. But what did the town do to rid themselves of the bride's disloyal ravings?
I think they just like straight up shunned us almost. Like in the like intensely Amish fashion of like town shunning because this is this is a ludicrous amount of things that we've brought down to them, and he's always been we're the closest settlement to his workshop, to his compound, and he's been a great supporter of us as a town in these inhospitable uh landscapes. And so I think we just get they shun us.
How did how did Santa blackmail the bride's family into silence?
We have a younger sister.
And as we had all laid out, he had done a very good job of ingratiating himself into our family.
You really did. What loving gift does Santa send you for your wedding anniversary?
I think he sends us wrapped in paper, the same wrapping paper that was used uh for Catherine. I think he sends us the Christmas tree angel. From the top of the tree.
2 more questions. We're almost done. And then we can go to bed.
Can we?
Can we?
After this?
I got therapy at 9 a.m. I don't know about y'all. I'm good. I got a brand new therapist at 9 a.m. Let's fucking go. Okay, great. What new room in Bluebeard's house haunts what new room in Santa's house haunts the bride's dreams every night?
I think it is a room that would ostensibly be filled with comfort. Roaring fireplace, comfortable, non-murderous chairs, all of what makes the season special and comforting. But there is a red ribbon just sitting there on the end table, right next to the chair. And the bride doesn't know what unsettled her so much because it's, of course, just meant for a gift. But there's something about the color that feels far too reminiscent of blood, and it's just enough to raise the hair on the back of her neck.
That being said, how does the bride make herself at home in that perfect new room?
We we become the fire, warm and comforting, flickering all of the colors of our hair, sometimes going pale and ghostly and empty as our eyes.
And that's Bluebeard's bride. I know we went over like an hour, I'm sorry. Or not that bad. Half an hour.
Right.
It's not too bad.
It's a Friday
No,
night.
it's totally
It's a
fine.
Friday. Yeah.
It's a Friday and the horrors persist.
It's a
Horrors.
Friday and the horrors persist. This game is about capitalism and misogyny and fucking up and anyway. Anyway, thank you for playing and thank you genuinely for trusting me to play this game with you all and handle it in a way that's delicate and not harmful to our players and our viewers. So thank the three of you for engaging with me and also treating this with the, you know, kind of leaning into the like irreverence, but also the reverence. So thank you. Let's go round and say bye-bye and go to bed and prepare ourselves to cry to sleep. First in the order is Julia. Julia, who are you? Who did you play? And where can people find you?
Hi, I'm Julia. I played the Animus who caused problems on purpose because this house is full of horrors and I am one of them. You can You're not locked. I'm not locked here in here with you. You're locked in here with me. You can find me at Hexwhat on all of my social media platforms. I primarily exist on LFTA and in the LFTA Discord. I will be back next Tuesday and next Thursday for the class reunion and Never Members Enigma uh 12 12-ish days of Haz-Mas games. Which are both 5e games. One of them I'm playing a horrible rogue cleric hybrid, and one of them I'm a warlock. So if you'd like some variety, there's that.
Perfect. Wonderful. Next is JD. JD, who are you? And all that.
Hi, I am JD. I played the witch tonight. I do way too many things. I will be showing up a few more times during Haz-Mas before we wrap up. You will actually find me, as Julia said, in both Class Reunion and Never Ember's Enigma. I will be playing our agender ranger in one of them, and I will be playing our genderqueer changeling rogue in the other. So
Hell
they
yeah.
are both good times. And then I will be running a season of Secrets and Shadows, the season 2 finale, next Friday, the 22nd, which is wild. But we will have plenty of games between now and then. Just going to put a pitch out for that. We'll have 2 games tomorrow, in fact. So check them out. We'll have a day game and a night game. And I think that's all I have to plug for now.
Perfect. Next is Della. Della, who are you? Who did you play? Where can people find you?
I'm Della. I have been the Virgin. I caused problems mostly by accident, and I can be found here at LFTA. You will find me here also on Thursday, not on Tuesday, not in Class Reunion, but I am in Never Ember's Enigma, where I play B, who is the gnomish wizard, played by Kristen Bell and voiced by Kirsten Chenoweth. And she's know what the fuck is going on. It's rad. Yeah, it's where you can find me. It's where I am. I'm here every Thursday. I'm also in Redacted, which will be back after Christmas, Thursday after Christmas, and that's gonna be real cool.
Perfect. And I guess I'm the last one. Hi, everybody. I'm Amber, also known as the Space Jamber. I am a 3-time Emmy-nominated TTRPG writer, editor, podcaster, and streamer, and currently signing on for a really exciting project. So, hell yeah, brother. I have been your groundskeeper, and this is the first time I've ever run Bluebeard's Bride. So, thank you again, genuinely, for trusting me with this. I pitched this in a frenzy after a seasons of Secrets and Shadows at JD, and I was like, oh my god, I had a dumb idea. Thank you for listening. You can find me anywhere there's internet at the Space Jamber. I'm back on Twitter. Unfortunately, I'm on Threads, and I keep saying I'm going back on TikTok eventually. But places you can find me. Hold on, I have my calendar open. On Tuesday, I am doing a rescheduled stream of Tangled Blessings by Cassie Mothwin with my friend Fleet Dietrich, because we want to play it before we write something for the Tangled Blessings game jam. So that's going to be 8 p.m. Eastern on my Twitch, twitch.tv/thespacejamber. And then next Friday, the 22nd, I will be in the season 2 finale of Season of Secrets and Shadows with JD. Astrid, who knows? We learned a lot about Astrid this season. I don't even know what the fuck happened. So here we go. And then my last appearance in Haz-Mas is on the 27th at 8 p.m. Neathmere before Christmas. I don't even, what game is this? It's Skyfarer, the Sunless Skies role-playing game. I'm gonna be a quartermaster, and that's all I know. I still have 2 weeks to figure out what the fuck I'm doing. But yes, thank you again to LFTA for having me. Thank you to LFTA for putting on this amazing event. I hope we reach our $1,500 goal. And I don't apologize for the nightmares I'm going to give you. But I'll give you my usual sign off. I am proud of you for making it here today, and I am proud of you for making it here to today, Friday, December 15th, 2023. You are wanted, you are loved, and you are needed. And tonight you're needed by all of us. You're Mrs. Claus, who escaped Santa. We will be raiding into someone, but thank you for your time. Thank you for hanging out with us, and I hope you have a fabulous holiday season. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.